Hello and welcome to our group's presentation on our 1000Minds final project on choosing a restaurant. The basis of this project is to compare and contrast different attributable aspects of restaurants in our areas to help us make the best decision of which restaurant we should go to. 1000Minds is a program that uses data from several different sections of your model to base the final decision on. The different sections that the program uses is the setup, which is the overall design and mode of your data model, criteria, which are the factors that the possible alternatives will be based on. Other factors which may or may not be used in grading the possible alternatives. Alternatives, which are the possible options to select from. Decisions, which help us strengthen our data input to make the best decision that we can. And lastly, ranked alternatives. The first section in 1000Minds is the setup. Obviously, we have chosen the name of our model, choosing a restaurant. And then you also choose the activity mode of selection, considering other factors too. So what this allows us to do is to insert other data for each possible restaurant that may or may not be rankable or information that can easily be used to make decisions on, but it might provide other factors that could help us in the event of ties or if there's any uncertainty in the results of our findings. At the bottom, you'll see that the question of which of these two hypothetical restaurants do you prefer is the one that we chose to be the test for the accuracy of our data model by comparing the results of a series of questions asking between hypothetical restaurants which we would prefer. The questions that are created through 1000Minds are derived from the group's data in which we insert, which we will go over a little bit later. The criteria section of the model is where we will add all of our criteria for which the restaurant options will be judged. You can see we have chosen the criteria of ranking the quality of food, the affordability of the food, the atmosphere of the restaurant, the wait time for customers, the location of the restaurant, and the overall wait staff. These are the criterion that we thought was probably the most important factors for all of us whenever we are considering a restaurant. So in each of these criterion, we have 3 different options to judge our restaurants on, from bad to excellent. In the alternatives screen in 1000Minds, this is where we each had to select and insert local restaurants in our area that we would be considering frequenting. So this is where we insert the information on each restaurant and then also go through and rank our restaurants on these criterion that we just went over. So using the scale of bad to excellent, each restaurant was given our own grade under each criteria, as well as a couple other factors as well. You'll notice to the far right there are a few other factors listed. We have hours of operation, accessibility from main roads, and as well as menu variation. These are criterion that are not going to be used in the data that is created from our project, but it still could be useful information if somebody is ever deciding on which restaurant to go to. A couple factors like hours of operation and accessibility from main roads might be helpful information to help them make the best decision possible. There's also a section in 1000 Minds called Decisions. This is where the program uses different hypothetical decisions or asks different hypothetical questions based on the criteria that we inserted into the data model. Different scenarios of possible options from bad to excellent. It asks you which two hypothetical scenarios would you prefer. For instance, you could be comparing a restaurant with excellent quality food but poor wait time or long wait time with another restaurant that has good quality of food but a quick waiting time. So the decisions section in 1000 Minds uses the group's answers to these hypotheticals to place the importance of each criteria in the final choice. Finally, we have the ranked alternatives menu. This is basically the findings of the 1000 Minds data model for which we constructed. This is telling us, based on what we have answered in the decisions section, as well as the rankings that we ranked each restaurant, this is the results of the whole thing. You can see that the best score altogether was De Eduardo's, followed closely by Lucky's Steakhouse and The Dive. We could easily turn this into visualization methods like presentations and other things. So 1000 Minds is a very useful way to structure and I guess mathematically or numerically find best alternatives in a decision-making process. So I hope this has been a useful presentation, and as you can see, we have some very high scores, and the choice of which restaurant to choose is a pretty heated one.